Discover how a heartwarming journey of a poor boy turned chocolate into a billion-dollar empire. In the heart of a downtrodden town, amid shuttered factories and faded dreams, stood a small candy shop that held the spirit of Joy Jacob's world. 12 years old, he woke each morning with a weight in his chest, feeling the cruelty of classmates taunting him for being from a struggling family. Yet, inside the charming little store filled with the heady aroma of chocolate and nostalgia, life was sweeter. The candy shop belonged to his grandmother, a fiery World War II veteran who fought for love and freedom, and now she fought for their candy shop, too. "Remember, Jake," she would say, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Every piece of candy tells a story." It was during those afternoons, leaning over the bright candy counter, that the world seemed to whisper secrets through sticky, sweet joy. They would gather old recipes, flipping through dusty binders while laughter danced down the aisles. Chocolate became their canvas, each swirl a testament to resilience and hope. But at school, it felt like a different universe. Laughter turned cruel when whispers reached his ears, taunts about his family's empty pockets. It was soul-crushing. Jake felt like an outsider in his own life. Despite the harsh realities, his grandmother's lessons propelled him forward. Hard work, integrity, generosity, they echoed in his heart as he mixed sweet ingredients, assembling delicious dreams, crafting delicacies meant to shine brighter than the shadows that loomed. The local festival approached, a symbol of hope and unity. "This is your moment, Jake," his grandmother encouraged. "Prove to them that we're not just a struggling candy shop." To him, it was his chance to show what they could achieve, a lifeline to help save their beloved store. Yet, lurking in the background was Derek, his wealthy classmate using underhanded tricks to snatch victories. The pang of competition gnawed at Jake, and soon self-doubt crept in, whispering that he might not have what it takes. As the festival day dawned, excitement rattled through the town. Vibrant tables, bursting with colors and laughter, lined the square. Jake's heart pounded, adrenaline coursing through him as he unveiled his chocolate creation, a fascinating treasure full of flavor that embodied his town's spirit. The crowd gasped. His chocolate was beautiful, gleaming under the sun like a beacon of hope. He was ready to show the world. But then, a murmurous realization spread through the judging panel. Derek had cornered the market. It wasn't just his slick charm that won them over. Whispers of unethical means reached Jake's ears, rattling inside his chest like stones. This wasn't fair. He felt the heat rise within him as he stood at the crossroads of right and wrong. Should he expose Derek's deception or cling to the values his grandmother instilled in him? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he scanned the crowd, his friends watching with expectation, Jake's heart raced, uncertainty gripping him. Would he find the courage to take a stand against bullying, to pursue a path of integrity? Or would he succumb to tempting shortcuts, letting dreams dissolve in the shadows? With Derek's smug smirk visible in the distance, Jake clenched his masterpiece tightly, feeling the true test of his spirit surge within him. The festival buzzed around him, and at that moment, everything hinged on his next move. Would he rise against the odds, or would defeat douse the flames of hope that flickered gently in his heart? Jake stood at the crossroads, his heart racing as he weighed the consequences of his next move. The vibrant colors of the festival swirled around him, but all he could see was Derek, that smug grin plastered on his face. Each chuckle from the crowd felt like a reminder of the harsh words he'd heard in school, echoing in his mind like a relentless drumbeat. He glanced down at his carefully crafted chocolate creation. It held more than just flavors. It held dreams, hopes, and the love of his grandmother who poured her soul into every recipe. This wasn't just a competition for him. It was a statement. He couldn't let Derek tarnish that. Jake took a deep breath, steadying himself. "No more hiding," he whispered, the words barely audible over the festival festivities. He turned to the judges, quelling the doubts that threatened to rise within him. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice surprisingly steady despite the tumult inside. The crowd turned to him, a mix of curiosity and surprise. Jake's palms felt clammy, but he pressed on, fueled by the courage his grandmother always spoke of. "I need to talk about Derek's area of expertise in this competition." A hush fell over the spectators, whispers creeping through the air like wind on a fall day. Derek's eyes widened, disbelief staining his features. "What are you talking about, Jake?" he retorted with arrogance. "Just because you're desperate to win doesn't mean you can slander me." But Jake was undeterred. He cast a glance at his friends, the ones who dared to stand by him. "I'm not here to slander anyone. I just want fairness," he declared, his voice rising, resonating through the crowd. "Every piece of chocolate we make should come from hard work. And I know some unfair things happening behind the scenes." Gasps erupted from the audience, eyes darting between Jake and Derek. Was he really going there? Every heartbeat echoed in Jake's ears as he pressed on. The realization that he could stand tall, that he could speak for himself and for others, ignited a flame within him. "I'm proud of my hard work, of this creation. It embodies our town, our struggles and victories." Derek stepped closer, a storm brewing behind his eyes. "You're just a kid with a shop, Jake. You can't prove anything." With renewed determination, Jake's voice grew stronger. "But I can prove what really matters. Honesty and hard work mean more than any bribe ever will. If we're not playing fair, then none of this is worth it." The crowd was silent, taken aback by his words. Jake's heart surged, the power of his convictions giving him strength. Could he really inspire them to see the truth? Every moment felt frozen as he held their gaze, waiting for someone to respond. Then, one of the judges, the elderly woman with kind eyes, stepped forward, a hint of approval in her expression. "You're right, young man. We must honor integrity in our community. Let us investigate Derek's claims." The crowd erupted into murmurs, disbelief, support, disappointment. It ricocheted around the square like sugar in the air. Jake's heart hammered in his chest. Maybe he was making a difference. But as he stood there, adrenaline coursing through him, Derek's fuming face haunted him. This fight was far from over. Would Jake's bravery be rewarded? Or would he face the repercussions of turning the tide against someone as powerful as Derek? The festival had watched as he took a stand, but at what cost? Jake realized the battle for his dreams and values had only just begun. And in the shadow of the candy shop, the stakes were higher than ever before. As the crowd shifted and the tension hung in the air, one thought twisted in Jake's mind. What would be the fallout from this confrontation? And would he ever be able to salvage his dreams in the face of such fierce opposition? Jake felt the weight of the crowd pressing in on him. After he had spoken, a strange mix of hope and fear swirled within him. The cool breeze carried the scent of melting chocolate. It both comforted and terrified him. He could hear the murmur of voices brimming with speculation, a tidal wave of emotions crashing against the shore of his determination. Lights twinkled in the dusk, illuminating the faces around him, some curious, some skeptical, but many were nodding in agreement. His heart soared, but with that came the realization that this moment could easily turn sour. Derek still loomed large, his anger palpable, and the past few months echoed in Jake's mind. All the petty snubs, the taunts, the whispers that haunted him in school, they had led him to this moment. His heart raced. Could he hold on to the courage he had found? "I didn't plan this," he murmured, more to himself than anyone else. The rush of adrenaline made him feel all too alive. Yet it was the nagging thought of Derek's response that dulled the thrill. Derek pushed through the crowd, his face a mask of outrage mixed with a hint of something else, fear. Maybe, as he stepped closer to Jake, the crowd instinctively parted, their eyes wide. "You want to talk about integrity?" Derek sneered. "Last I checked, you were the one cutting corners trying to keep your shop afloat. Your chocolates are no match for the big leagues." Jake felt a surge of anger rise within him. He wanted to retort, to shove every compliment his grandmother had given him back in Derek's face, but he took a deep breath instead. It was a moment of clarity, a quiet understanding that he needed to grab hold of. Maybe I'm just a kid from a small shop, but I believe in something bigger than winning this competition. I believe in honesty and hard work. His voice rang out, strong and firm. The crowd shifted once more, whispers transforming into cheers. "Yes, Jake," echoed across the square. "Stand up for what you believe in." Jake felt renewed by their support. Each cheer fueled his resolve, but as he looked at Derek, he saw more than anger. He saw desperation, as if Derek was fighting for something he couldn't lose. There was a tension in the air, thick and tensive, and Jake felt a pang of empathy. Was this all really about winning for him, or was it deeper than that? Derek clenched his jaw, frustration bubbling over. "You think you can just walk in here and change everything? You have no idea what it takes to make it. Then let us show everyone what it means to truly make it," Jake shot back. "Without cheating, without lies. Let us let our chocolates speak for themselves." At that moment, Jake realized that he wasn't just fighting for himself anymore. He was standing up for every other kid who felt too small to make a difference. In that crowd, he sensed a growing movement. His friends were grinning, hopeful looks in their eyes, and the elderly woman was smiling affirmatively. But what would it mean for Derek? How would he respond to this challenge? The tension peaked, confusion brewing on the faces of onlookers. Jake had taken a stand, but what would Derek's next move be? He could feel the tension rise again as Derek took a step back, edges of his arrogance cracking just a bit. "Fine," Derek finally spat, voice dripping with disdain. "If you want to play it this way, let us see who the crowd really supports when it's time for the final taste test." The challenge hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. The crowd buzzed with excitement, the stakes having just been raised. Jake's heartbeat thudded in his ears. The final taste test could either make or break him. Could he really pull this off? Could his chocolate truly shine? As he locked eyes with the crowd, he knew the real battle was only just beginning. What if he couldn't prove himself? What if the taste test didn't go in his favor? Would he still believe in integrity if it all fell apart? The festival faded into the background as Jake steeled himself for the next chapter. It was time to show the world that dreams built on honesty and hard work were worth fighting for. The air was electric. Jake sensed a transformation in the crowd's energy. They were with him, unified in a single heartbeat of anticipation. All eyes were on Derek now, who shifted uncomfortably, still wrestling with the challenge Jake had thrown down. There was a flicker of doubt behind Derek's bravado, and for a fleeting moment, Jake felt hope maybe he could win in more ways than one. "Listen," Derek bellowed, drawing attention back to himself. "All this talk about honesty and hard work sounds great, but this is a competition. It's about the best chocolate, not your scrapbook of feelings." He scanned the audience, looking for support, but found only stares filled with disbelief. Jake took a deep breath. He could imagine all the hours he spent in his grandmother's kitchen, the warmth of her smile, the way she used to stir up a batch of fudge with so much love. It was those memories that fueled him now. He clenched his fists, steadying his resolve. "I may not be the biggest player in this field," Jake shouted back, "but I'm ready to make something real. Love and care go into every truffle I make. I don't just create sweets. I create an experience. That's what real chocolate is about." The crowd erupted again, voices raised in cheers. People nodded, clapping and shouting their support. Jake could hardly believe it. He felt like he was standing on a stage, and the audience was his family. Derek's frustration deepened. He was losing control, and the glimmer of desperation now fully kicked in. "This isn't over yet," he spat out, his voice straining against the crowd's approval of Jake. "You may have your little fan club, but when it comes to flavors, I will wipe the floor with you." Jake's heart raced. They were on the cusp of the most important showdown of their lives, and it felt unreal. The final taste test would determine everything: the hope for his small shop, the pride of standing up to bullies and proving everyone wrong. Would he let the pressure break him, or would he rise above? Flashes of doubt fluttered through his mind. What if the judges didn't appreciate his flavors? What if they preferred Derek's polished, manufactured chocolates? Yet among the doubts, a small voice reminded him that chocolate made with heart and passion had a place in the world. As the crowd roared, and cheers echoed through the evening, Jake felt the soft touch of his grandmother's words in his heart. Believe in your creations, Jake. They are a piece of you. Those words wrapped around him like a warm cocoon, urging him forward as the seconds ticked away. Then a familiar figure broke through the throng, walking straight toward Jake. It was his younger sister, Mia, clutching a tiny chocolate bar clumsily wrapped in paper. "Jake," she called, her face a mixture of excitement and worry. "I believe in you. You can do this." Looking at her bright eyes, something clicked within him. He wasn't alone. He had a family that believed in him, friends who gathered around him. He might be just a kid from a small shop, but he had everything to fight for. "Thank you, Mia," he called out, his heart swelling with affection and courage. With that, he turned back to the crowd, determination etched into his face. "I'm ready for this taste test," he declared, every word ringing clear. The crowd erupted in applause once more. But as the judges prepared to enter the arena, Jake noticed Derek watching him, an unreadable expression on his face. What if they all knew something Jake didn't? What kind of chocolate challenge awaited him? The questions swirled in his mind. Would he truly be able to prove himself? Could his passion withstand the heat of competition? As he stood in that moment, the stage was set, and Jake could feel the impending storm. Would he rise as a champion or crumble under pressure? The weight of everything rested on his next move. Jake's heart raced as the judges approached the table set for the taste test. Their expressions were serious, focused. A hush fell over the crowd, every eye glued to the front as everyone held their collective breath. This was at the moment of truth. His hands trembled slightly as he laid out his chocolate creations, each piece carefully crafted with memories of his grandmother echoing in his mind. He remembered her laughter as they melted crates of chocolate together, and how she sprinkled joy into even the simplest recipes. He hoped that passion would shine through today. Derek stepped to the side, a sleek box of chocolates in his hands. Each piece polished and beautifully presented a perfect contrast to Jake's more rustic offerings. There was a tightness in Derek's jaw, a mask of confidence barely hiding the anxiety beneath. Jake couldn't help but feel a spark of sympathy. Underneath all the bravado, perhaps they were more alike than he thought. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us," announced one of the judges, a woman with sharp glasses perched on her nose. "Today's challenge is not merely about flavor. It's also about heart. Let us begin with Derek's creations." With every bite, Derek's chocolates elicited gasps of admiration from the judges, praise flowing as sweetly as the chocolate they savored. Jake felt his chest tighten. Doubt crept in, whispering venomous thoughts. What if Derek's perfect presentation overshadowed his heartfelt truffles? But then he caught a glimpse of Mia in the front row, clutching her tiny chocolate bar, her eyes gleaming with hope. Jake straightened, drawing strength from that connection. He remembered why he was here. It wasn't just about the chocolates. It was about standing up, about being heard. "Now, let us try Jake's creations," the judge called, gesturing for Jake to step forward. Heart pounding, Jake approached the table, barely able to mask the tension in his chest. He watched as the judges plucked up his truffles, their expressions shifting from curiosity to delight as they took their first bites. "Wow!" one of them exclaimed, eyes wide. "This caramel is so rich and creamy." Jake's heart soared. He couldn't believe it. The judges were responding. This was his moment. "Your use of spices combines beautifully with the chocolate," another judge remarked, nodding. "It's authentic. These are flavors with history." A warm wave of pride washed over Jake. Memories of laughter and love enveloped him, making everything feel right. Each compliment was not just about the chocolate but about his story, the joy of his grandmother shared through each bite. But then Derek chuckled derisively. "Yeah, but that's all it is, a story. When it comes to competition, people want more than a good tale. They want the best, and that's exactly what I've brought." His words stung like a cold wind, disconnecting Jake for a brief moment. Did it really matter? Was it just about being the best? Part of him wanted to retort, but instead he took a deep breath. I came here to share the heart of my craft, Jake replied, his voice steady yet full of warmth. And if that means something to someone, then that's all that truly matters. There was a shift in the crowd, whispers and nods of approval rippling through the audience. Mia beamed. Jake felt surrounded by hope. This was more than a competition. It was a testament to everything he believed in as the judges deliberated. A hush fell over the crowd. Tension thickened, and Jake realized he was at a crossroads. The day's outcome could strengthen his resolve or pull him apart. Then the head judge raised her hand, a serious expression on her face. We have made our decision. Jake's stomach flipped, anxiety clawing at him. What would the outcome be? Could all the heart and love he poured into that chocolate really be enough against Derek's polished facade? And then she continued, but first, I would like to share something unexpected. His breath hitched. What could she possibly say? And how would it change everything they thought they knew? The head judge paused, her gaze sweeping the audience, tightening the knot of anticipation in Jake's stomach even more. Today, we focus not just on taste and presentation, but on the story behind each chocolate. Our winner will not only be recognized for their culinary skills, but for the emotional connection they have created. Jake's heartbeat quickened as he leaned in, desperate to catch every word. And because of that, we discovered something remarkable during the tasting. The judges unanimously agreed that one of you moved us beyond just flavor. She locked eyes with him, and it felt like the world narrowed to this one moment. He held his breath, feeling the support of Mia behind him and the crowd around him, their whispers swirling like a warm embrace. This person has brought a story to life through chocolate, evoking memories that many of us can relate to. That's incredibly powerful. Jake's heart fluttered. Was she talking about him? A glimmer of hope flickered within him, as if his grandmother were standing there, nodding encouragingly. And so, she continued, the decision reflects not only the dessert before us but the impact it can have on our hearts. Today's winner, who has not only crafted exquisite chocolates but has shared a true connection with us, is Jake. Couldn't he help but tremble? He felt adrenaline rush through him. Would it be him? Could all of this mean something more? Jake, the judge exclaimed, a smile spreading across her face. You're our winner. Cheers erupted from the audience. Mia jumped up, clapping her hands and squealing with delight. Jake's heart soared as he fought back tears of joy. All the hard work, the fears, the love he infused into each truffle, it was all worth it. Derek's expression tightened, and for the first time Jake saw genuine surprise wash over his rival's face, as if the perfectly polished world he had created had shattered just a bit. The applause was deafening, but it was Jake's grandmother's laughter he heard echoing in his mind. Thank you, he managed to say, his voice shaky yet filled with gratitude. Thank you for believing in what matters most to me. This is for my grandmother, and for everyone who has ever dared to dream. As he stepped forward to accept his award, the judge continued, and we are excited to announce that Jake's chocolates will be featured in a new art exhibit celebrating the heart behind culinary creations. The crowd erupted again, but somewhere in the back of his mind, the tension of Derek's disappointment lingered. Yet Jake couldn't dwell on it now. He had achieved a dream, but he sensed that this was just the beginning of his journey. After the ceremony concluded, as celebrations filled the room, Jake noticed Derek standing alone, his box of beautiful chocolates forgotten on the table. Took courage, but Jake approached him. Hey, he said, his voice softer now. You created something amazing, too. Derek's expression hardened for a moment before he sighed, a flicker of vulnerability breaking through. It wasn't enough. Maybe it's not just about being enough, Jake said, courage swelling in his chest. Maybe it's about sharing what you love. For the right reasons. Derek looked surprised, as if Jake had pulled back a veil. You really think that? Yeah, Jake replied, feeling the warmth of sincerity. Want to talk about it? Derek looked at him closely, weighing the offer. The noise of the party faded for just a moment, leaving them in a bubble of honesty and unexpected connection. Back at the center of the room, The celebration erupted with laughter and joy, but there was something deeper woven into the air. What if this was the moment for not just a rivalry to shift, but for both of them to learn and grow together? As Jake extended his hand, hopeful, the world around them pulsed with possibility. Would Derek accept his offer? And could this unexpected friendship change everything they thought they knew about each other and themselves? Derek hesitated. The lights from the chandeliers shimmered above them, casting a warm glow over the fray of celebration behind. Jake felt the weight of the moment, the air thick with anticipation. "Why should I?" Derek finally said, his voice barely a whisper. "You've already won. What do I have to offer?" Jake searched for the right words, feeling the energy of the crowd swell behind him like a tide. "Because we're both passionate about chocolate. Maybe we can help each other." A flicker of uncertainty crossed Derek's face. The tension in his jaw loosened just enough to tell Jake that he was considering it. "Help each other?" he echoed. "Why would you want to do that?" "Because it's not about just competition," Jake insisted. "It's about our love for what we do. Maybe together we could explore that in a way we never could alone." Derek's gaze dropped to the table, fingers lightly tracing the edge of his forgotten box of chocolates. Jake could tell he was wrestling with something deep within. "Look," Jake added, softening his tone, "the truth is, I admire your skills. You're talented, and that's not going to change just because one of us won today. I felt lost before too, and I know how it can hurt." Derek finally met Jake's eyes, something flickering in the depths. "I can't help but feel like I failed," he confessed, his voice shaking slightly. "This was supposed to be my moment." "Can be," Jake replied, heart racing at Derek's vulnerability. "But only if you let it. We can take this moment and create something new, something even better." Silence hung between them, charged with unspoken possibilities. Then slowly Derek nodded. "All right, I'll talk." A wave of relief washed over Jake. "Great. I think discussing our ideas could spark something amazing. Let us start fresh." As they took an unsteady step toward one another, once rivals, now allies, the world around them began to open up. The chatter and laughter of the celebration faded into a muffled backdrop, replaced by the exhilarating thrill of new beginnings. "Let us head outside," Jake suggested, gesturing toward the balcony. "The fresh air might help clear our minds." They moved together, side by side, awkwardly forging a connection where competition once stood. Outside, the night sky stretched above them, stars twinkling like diamonds scattered across a velvety blanket. There was a certain peace in the evening air, a momentary calm before the waves of change would inevitably crash upon them. "I don't even know where to start," Derek admitted, rubbing the back of his neck as they leaned against the railing. "Just be honest," Jake urged, his own heart still racing. "Talk about your passion. What do you dream of creating?" Derek took a breath, slow yet defiant. "I want to make chocolates that tell a story, just like yours. But I don't know if I can." "You can," Jake replied earnestly. "You just need to find what connects you to it. Remember why you started." Yet as Jake said those words, a part of him couldn't help but wonder about his own path forward. He had achieved so much, but now, with Derek at his side, how would this partnership change him? "Can I trust you?" Derek asked suddenly, his voice steady but with a trace of fear. Jake smiled, feeling a spark of hope igniting within him. "Absolutely. But trust takes time. We'll figure this out together, one chocolate at a time." As they stood under the vast expanse of the night sky, united with a shared resolve, Jake felt an adrenaline rush through him. This was just the beginning of something he couldn't yet fully comprehend. What if the chocolate he crafted next could be more than just a win at the competition? What if it could shape a legacy, a bond that would last a lifetime? And just as uncertainty washed over the excitement, Jake wondered, could they create something powerful enough to change their futures forever? The wind picked up, carrying whispers of excitement from within the venue. Jake leaned against the railing, feeling the cool breeze against his skin, as if nature itself was urging them forward. Derek stood beside him, his fingers tapping nervously on the edge of the balcony. The moment felt fragile, ready to shatter or bloom into something beautiful. "Okay," Derek said, finally lifting his gaze, determination beginning to spark in his eyes. Let us brainstorm. What if we blend our styles? You focus on storytelling and I can concentrate on creating complex flavors. Jake's pulse quickened at the idea. That's a start. We could present our work together, maybe host an event that highlights this combination. People love a story behind what they eat. It's memorable. Derek tilted his head, a hint of a smile peeking through. You think people would really care about the story behind each chocolate? Yes, Jake exclaimed, leaning in. Imagine chocolates inspired by memories. A chocolate that tastes like summer. One that brings back feelings of comfort, warmth. Could elevate an ordinary treat into something emotional. Derek was silent for a moment, contemplating. And we could incorporate a local angle too, maybe use ingredients that speak to where we come from, things that represent us. Can make it personal. That's perfect. We create something that bridges our individual experiences. Jake encouraged. Suddenly a thought struck Derek. What if we tied our recipes to our own childhoods? I remember tapping into the flavors my grandmother used. Each time it brought me comfort. Yes, Jake replied, excitement surging. That's the heart of it. People connect to nostalgia. Each chocolate becomes a story from our lives. A tangible experience they can relate to. The two began to ignite ideas, the air buzzing with inspiration. Each suggestion flowed freely from one to the other, both men laughing and feeling lighter, their earlier tensions melting away under the shared light of creativity. Suddenly, Derek paused, his expression shifting from joy to something deeper. But what if it doesn't work? He asked, the weight of doubt seeping back in. What if people don't respond the way we hope? Jake's heart twisted. He could see the fear in Derek's eyes. You'll never know unless we try. We have the passion, the drive. Don't let fear hold you back. We can't control the outcome, but we can control the story we tell and the heart we put into it. He was surprised by his own intensity, but saw flickers of connection in Derek's eyes. A glimmer of belief kindling in the darkness of uncertainty. So, we're really doing this? Derek said slowly, his breath catching on the idea. Yes, we are, Jake replied, a sense of purpose flooding through him. We're forming a partnership based on our shared love for chocolate, but also for exploring our identities through it. Whatever happens, we'll do it together. With a nod, Derek's expression shifted. Hope began to wash over his features. I'm in, he said softly. Let us create something that matters. In that moment, the balcony felt alive. The stars sparkled overhead, witnessing the new chapter unfolding before them. Their dreams, hopes, and stories intertwined in the night air, giving way to the possibilities that lay ahead as they stepped back inside. Ready to face the future together. One question lingered. An insistent whisper in the back of Jake's mind: what challenges would they have to overcome to shape their legacy? And would they find the missing ingredients that completed their story? The venue hummed with anticipation as Jake and Derek pushed through the doors, their excitement barely contained. The dazzling lights illuminated a mass of faces grabbing drinks, chatting eagerly, and sampling treats more exquisite than they could have imagined. It was a celebration of the culinary arts, a showcase of talents, and here they were, ready to carve their niche. Look at this place, Derek marveled, his eyes wide at the spread of tables displaying a variety of sweet delights. How are we supposed to stand out among this? Jake felt the familiar gnaw of doubt creeping in but pushed it away. We just need to be true to ourselves. Remember what we talked about? It's not just chocolate. It's our stories. Derek nodded, his nerves still flaring. They approached a booth nearby, a cheerful woman in a bright apron offering samples of handmade caramels that hinted at innovative flavor combinations. With each taste, the excitement in the room seemed to grow. Okay, Derek muttered, licking caramel from his fingers. There's serious talent here. But how do we turn that into something people want? Let us observe, Jake suggested, his heart racing. Each booth has a theme, a story behind their flavors. We need to find ours. As they wandered through the venue, Jake couldn't help but notice how each vendor captured the crowd's attention. Ingredients sourced from local farms, family recipes handed down for generations, narratives woven into each dish. The threads of connection that formed around food made every bite extraordinary. Suddenly, Derek tugged at Jake's sleeve. His eyes locked on a table adorned with delicate chocolates inscribed with heartfelt messages. Look, they're pairing flavors with emotions. Joy, comfort, adventure. What if we did something like that? Jake felt a rush of inspiration. Yes, we could use souvenirs from our childhood. Each piece could tell a chapter, and people can choose what resonates with them. Derek's face lit up. We could design a tasting experience where every chocolate has its own story, sort of like a journey through our lives. The idea hung in the air, electric and tangible. Jake's heart pounded. They walked briskly, fueled by anticipation. This was their path, a chance to blend personal history with something deeply relatable. As they reached the center of the venue, a hushed silence fell. A notable guest speaker, a famed chef known for his fearless culinary explorations, stepped onto the stage, commanding attention. His voice echoed, powerful and inspiring. Creative expression isn't just a skill. It's a journey. When you cook, you share a piece of yourself. Taste is tied to memory and emotion. Don't ever shy away from being bold with your story. Jake felt a jolt run through him as if the chef spoke directly to them. Everyone held their breath, capturing the essence of the moment. That's it. Jake whispered urgently to Derek, his excitement bubbling over. We have to embrace who we are and be bold. Our chocolates can carry our experiences, our heritage. We won't just sell chocolate. We'll share pieces of our hearts. Derek's eyes shone, bolstered by the energy buzzing around them. Let us sketch out the flavors right now. We can brainstorm in the corner while this is fresh. The two hurried to an open table, grabbing a napkin and a pen. They scribbled ideas, laughter spilling from their lips as the possibilities unfolded before them. But just as they were getting into the rhythm, a shadow loomed nearby. Hey, what's this? A voice interrupted, dripping with skepticism. It was a rival chocolatier known for his exclusivity and high-end selections. You think amateurs like you can go up against professionals? An uneasy silence fell, tension coursing between them. Jake met Derek's gaze, the spark in his eyes flickering momentarily. Would they rise to the challenge or let doubt consume them? Let us show him what we're made of, Jake whispered fiercely, determination igniting within him. That as the doubt simmered, unanswered questions loomed in Jake's mind. Could they really turn their dreams into a reality amidst the fierce competition? The sun sank low, casting a warm golden hue over the lively festival grounds. Jake and Derek stood tall, their friendship forged in the heat of competition, ready to face the crowd together. Their spirits danced with excitement, the promise of new beginnings wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. With the festivals marking their progress, they spent countless hours refining their chocolate recipes, each creation telling a story of their journey. Mia believed in Jake's vision, and Derek's determination came alive as they explored flavors that represented their childhoods. With every truffle, they not only crafted delicious chocolates but shared their hearts, a blend of rich nostalgia and fresh perspectives. As the night approached, they set up their stall, adorned with a vibrant banner that read, "Chocolates that tell your story." The crowd streamed by, whispers of curiosity sparking interest as they shared snippets of their experiences. Imagine flavors of summer picnics, cozy childhood memories, and laughter-filled family gatherings all brought to life through their chocolates. Do you think they'll get it? Derek asked nervously, his hands fidgeting as he arranged the chocolates on the table. They will, Jake replied confidently, looking at the eager faces gathered around. We're doing something real, something that means something. Then it happened. A longtime mentor they both admired strolled up, his discerning eyes scanning the array of treats. As he took his first bite of Jake's caramel chocolate creation, a smile broke across his face, illuminating formerly furrowed brows. "This is brilliant," he exclaimed, the loud praise drawing attention. Whispers turned to cheers, and Jake felt a rush of warmth wash over him. Derek's face lit up, and together, they dove into conversations with everyone around. They listened, shared stories, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, it became clear they were not just testing chocolates. They were connecting with every heart that approached. Hours flew as their stall became the heartbeat of the festival. The excitement, laughter, and curiosity wrapped tightly around them, creating an undeniable aura of hope and joy. In those moments, Jake realized their journey wasn't just about the competition or the win. It was about camaraderie and authenticity, about finding strength in vulnerability. Suddenly, a voice called out, breaking through the melody of the evening. "Hey, are you Jake and Derek, the chocolate guys?" A beaming customer stepped forward, a glimmer of recognition in their eyes. The crowd echoed with encouragement, and the realization hit Jake like a wave. His dream of making a difference had already materialized. As the festival wound down, the two received the award for best storytelling through chocolate, and cheers erupted. They shared a proud glance, knowing they hadn't just conquered a competition but had melded their stories with every person that indulged in their creations. Later that night, they stood outside, breathing in the crisp air, their minds still buzzing with excitement. The evening had turned into a celebration of who they were, two boys who dared to intertwine their struggle, dreams, and love for chocolate. They reflected on the challenges, the lessons learned, but most importantly, the bond they had formed along the way. Jake chuckled, shaking his head. "Can you believe we almost let fear win?" Derek smirked. "Pretty ridiculous, right? But we got through it together. I can't imagine doing this alone." And in that moment, under the starry sky, they sealed their partnership not just as competitors, but as allies crafted from sweet dreams, laughter, and an unbreakable resolve to succeed not only for themselves but for their community. "Let us keep pushing forward," Jake said, determination igniting in his voice. "There's so much more to do." As echoes of the night's joy swirled around them, they knew their journey was only just beginning. They were not just making chocolates anymore. Together, they could create a legacy rooted in honesty, goodness, and the magic that comes from sharing heartfelt stories. In the heart of a town where dreams were often dimmed, they would shine brightly, spreading both sweetness and inspiration, one chocolate at a time. And now, a call to you, dear viewers. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with love. Let us know what you felt about Jake and Derek's epic journey in the comments below. And don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters. It keeps the magic alive.